The Miami Dolphins sitting at 5-7 might not scream playoff contention, but let's not pretend this season has been without its highlights or turning points. The journey has been tumultuous, filled with tough calls, frustrating moments, and the occasional flash of brilliance. At the heart of it all is Tua Tagovailoa, the spark that has kept the fire burning in Miami's camp, even when hope felt like a fragile thing. But today, let's dive into something that's been brewing under the surface, a shift that could finally stabilize one of the team's weakest links, the backup quarterback situation. Here's the deal, Miami has officially made Tyler Huntley the backup quarterback for Tua, a move that feels less like a gamble and more like a necessary course correction. For weeks, fans and analysts alike have been questioning the team's reluctance to shake things up in this department. Skyler Thompson, the previous QB2, had his moments, well, more like fleeting flashes, but those weren't enough to keep Miami's season afloat when it mattered most. This change isn't just about shuffling names, it's about giving this team a fighting chance, no matter what cards they're dealt. Think back to Skyler Thompson's journey. Drafted in the 7th round back in 2022, his rise to the backup spot had all the makings of a feel-good underdog story. When injuries sidelined both Tua and Teddy Bridgewater last season, Thompson was thrust into the spotlight, even starting a playoff game. But let's not sugarcoat it, he struggled. It wasn't the kind of performance that instills confidence in a team or its fans. Sure, the circumstances weren't ideal, but the NFL doesn't wait for fairy tales to unfold. You either deliver or you don't. Fast forward to this season, and Thompson's limitations became glaringly obvious. When called upon to fill in for Tua, his performances were lackluster. A stat line of 187 passing yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions might look clean on paper, but it doesn't tell the story of missed opportunities, stalled drives, and an offense that felt stuck in neutral. The writing was on the wall, and it was clear to anyone paying attention, Skyler Thompson wasn't the answer. Enter Tyler Huntley. He's not a household name, and his stats won't make you do a double take, but what he brings to the table is reliability. That might not sound glamorous, but for a backup quarterback, it's everything. Huntley has shown in his previous stints with other teams that he can step in and keep things steady. He's not going to light up the scoreboard, but he's not going to sink the ship either. And for a team like Miami, that's exactly what they need in a QB2. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Will this change make a significant difference in Miami's playoff hopes? Probably not. Sitting at 5-7, the margin for error is razor-thin. For the Dolphins to have any shot at the postseason, they'd need to win out and finish 10-7, which is a tall order in itself. Even then, they'd need help from other teams, specifically the Denver Broncos, who would need to stumble down the stretch. It's a scenario that feels more like wishful thinking than a realistic possibility. But here's the thing, this decision isn't just about this season. It's about setting a precedent and acknowledging a critical flaw in the team's strategy. The backup quarterback position can't be treated as an afterthought. The NFL is brutal, and injuries to key players are almost inevitable. Teams that survive and thrive are the ones that plan for those moments, ensuring they have capable backups ready to step in without missing a beat. Looking ahead, this shift to Huntley could be a sign that Miami is learning from its mistakes. If the Dolphins want to avoid another season where they're scrambling to stay relevant, they need to prioritize finding a more experienced and proven backup quarterback in the offseason. Someone who can not only manage the game but also inspire confidence in their teammates when the stakes are high. It's not an easy role to fill, but it's one that could make all the difference in a league as competitive as this one. For now, though, the focus remains on the here and now. Next up is a matchup against the New York Jets, a team that has struggled mightily this season. On paper, it's a game the Dolphins should win. But as any fan knows, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. This is a golden opportunity for Miami to build some momentum and finish the season strong, regardless of what the playoff picture looks like. Let's also take a moment to reflect on what this season has taught us about the Dolphins. It's been a roller coaster, no doubt, but it's also been a story of resilience and growth. Tua's ability to bounce back from injuries and lead this team has been nothing short of inspiring. The defense has had its ups and downs, but has shown flashes of brilliance. And now, with this decision to bring in Huntley, the coaching staff is proving they're willing to make tough calls to put the team in a better position. As fans, we can't ask for much more than that, a team that fights, learns, and adapts. Sure, there's frustration in knowing the playoffs are likely out of reach. But there's also hope in seeing the pieces start to come together. Change is never easy, and progress isn't always linear, but the Dolphins are showing they're not content to stay stagnant. So, here's to Tyler Huntley, a new face in a familiar role, and to the Miami Dolphins, a team that refuses to give up. The journey isn't over yet, and as long as there's football to be played, there's always a chance to make some noise. Let's see what they've got left in the tank.